If I said it once, I said it a million times. You have to design the life that you want. You've got to create a plan. Write that plan down. Have an idea, some understanding of what you want your life to become, and then begin to realize it if you want to be happy. Now, the problem is, I do believe you've got to get yourself ready for that to actually work effectively. Because at the end of the day, it will boil down to your own deep personal self-awareness of what it is you actually want out of life. What will actually make you happy. You need to do that personal deep dive assessment. And that may even require you going out and trying a bunch of things before you can get to a place that you truly understand yourself enough of what you want to do, what you're capable of, and what it is that you know will help you create that path to designing and creating the life that you ultimately want. Welcome to Build with Rob. It's your boy, Rob Dyrdek. Living life to the fullest, systematically fusing art, science, and magic on a daily basis. Because it's what I do down here, creating companies, creating life, having children's birthday parties at Legoland and just going Lego crazy, getting Legoed out. And hey, I'm going to tell you something that is very personal, but I don't like Legos, okay? My 6-year-old loves Legos, okay? And I am so grateful by the grace of God that he now can put together Legos by himself to where I no longer need to help him. It's incredible. Because in the past, he'd have his birthday and be like, here it is, 700 pieces, the Death Star ship. And there I am putting together Lego pieces for hours at a time till I get a headache. It's not where I want to spend my time. It is not the life that I designed for myself when I envisioned having an amazing family and being a great father and dedicating the right amount of time and energy to be there for my children. It was not to put together Legos, but it was in fact part of the life that I wanted to live and ultimately designed 2013 and 2014 before really implementing it in the coming years, and ultimately the universe brought me an amazing, beautiful woman to spend the rest of my life with, that then allowed me to fulfill the greatest show of love of ultimately creating another human being. But it was really what I wanted out of life, and really what I had really stopped and decided, like, hey, what do I really need to do to actually become the person and begin to build the life to where I'm even in a position to meet somebody to be able to ultimately get married, build a family, and build a life, and that was part of like a really, really deep process of diving deep into myself to ultimately understand, what it is that I wanted out of life. But keep in mind, I had already lived like 10 lifetimes, because I, continually just kept trying thing after thing after thing, and oh, this is going to make me happy. Oh, if I just do this, and I do think, there's a lot of stuff I got to experience, a lot of things that I did and tried that I know that I don't want to do. I'm learned a lot about myself and got to have a lot of success, but it was a struggle the whole way through, right? And it was because I never took the time to ever fully understand what it was that I needed to be happy, right? And so, I was able to get to a position to where I wanted to do the self analysis and ultimately begin to take the personality tests and really begin to like ask myself the questions of what do you need and really want to make happy, what to make you happy, what are the things right now that bother you, and pull from that, right? Like this sort of step into self-analysis and really understanding that took me a really long time to discover, and had to have somebody kind of show me the way of like, this is a really great tool for you to begin to understand who you are. But I was much older and in a place where like, man, if I don't figure this life out now, I'm never going to figure it out, and for me, when I reflect back on sort of the journey of my life and think of different phases of like, where depending on your age and your ambition and your identity and what you want out of life and what you expect your life to look at, or your life to turn out to be, and what you want out of life, there's this really interesting, like, pull between all of these that you're constantly fighting with yourself to ultimately create a pathway to achieve it, while still fighting with the self-belief side of like, do you think you can even get there in the first place? And I don't want to design a life that's smaller than like what I feel like I am intended and destined to live, but can I even live the life that I want to live, right? These are all of these questions when you're on the journey of life and trying to figure out like, is this like the direction that my life should go? Should chasing this new opportunity, maybe this job will be the reset that I need, that's going to reveal to me what it is like I actually want to do with my life. But it's this chaotic sort of very difficult thing to assess, and so often when I'm preaching like, man, like you got to design your life. You have to. You want to design your life in an integrated, holistic manner, determining all those things that will make you happy, and then creating plans and pathways to realizing that life. And if you don't even know what any of those are, it becomes super difficult, and I'm I'm empathetic of not knowing what it is that would even fully truly make you happy, and not being clear on what it is and how stuck that can make somebody. And so to me, you know, I think that does, end up in a world where you have to begin to give yourself a break, and then begin to try all these different things that may lead to that direction. Right now, you may not know exactly what it is, but you should begin to understand as you do them what it's not as well. And I think for me, I mean, when I was young, I was a really good shoe designer and designed all these shoes for DC, but I was also a pro skateboarder, and I had just lost, like, skateboarding wasn't as fulfilling to me. I didn't know what type of life that I necessarily wanted. I wanted to create businesses, but I didn't. I had a bunch of smaller businesses and was a pro skateboarder and was designing shoes, and it was like, what, really, what are you trying to be? What life do you really want? And Ken Block said to me, he said, wouldn't you be happy if you owned like a condo and then like worked here designing shoes and had an Audi in the garage? You know what I mean? And, at that time, owning a house and having an Audi in the garage was like, yeah, I would. You know what I mean? But when I like thought about my identity and who I was at the time, and this idea of like, what I'm like now, I have like a job and like I come to like work, and you know what I mean? It was like absolutely not. That is like not where I see myself. And yeah, I um could see myself with an Audi and a condo for now. You know what I mean? But like that's not the end, you know. And again, you know, this sort of idea of who you are and your expectations based off of um the vision that you have for what you think you are, and deep down the identity that you most connect with, that is the version of your own self, the highest version of your own self that you can see. That really is like what you're trying to get to and understand, right? Like it's not necessarily about knowing the pathway exactly and being able to make that plan to get to who um you know you exactly want to be, but you have to at least like know what it is that will satisfy the desires that you have to fulfill the identity that you see yourself as, and want others to see you as well. And people might call this ego, you know, and like, oh, if you let go of the ego, then it'd be a lot more easy to like realize that if you didn't need that condo and just an apartment, and you know having peace would help drive you towards your ideal life. Absolutely. Absolutely. Make no mistake. If you, the simpler the vision is for your ideal life, the easier it's going to be to understand, the easier it's going to be for you to implement, the easier it is going to be for you to achieve. So it's like if you can get to a place where you can understand who you are, what you want, and make it really simple, you're going to have a much easier path of determining what things that you can try and ultimately find that leads you in that direction, right? And for me, that just wasn't the case. You know what I mean? It's like the drive and the ambition and the desire and like, you know, to continually create and do bigger and bigger things. Like this was part of like my DNA and what made up my identity. Like, you know, like I just wanted the same way that I was designing shoes and was a pro skateboarder and had a record label and these companies. Like this was like, oh no, this is what I do and this is what I want to do, and kept pursuing it and fighting it. And then it turned into television, and now it's television shows and all these different things and continual business. But I had never taken the time to ever, you know, realize what it was that I actually wanted and needed to be from all the things that I wanted to achieve. I didn't have sort of a foundation of who I was, that I needed to begin to build the life that I would want to live around that. And I really didn't like discover it till my late 30s, and then ultimately like implemented it and then grew into it. And then today I can honestly say that I have finally become the person that I've always wanted to be. You know, and I didn't even know who that person was until I took the time to really get deep and ask myself the questions of who that person should be, or who do I want to be in order to become that person, and what is that person's life. Took many years before I did it, but when I finally got to the place where I was ready to actually design the life and become the person that I always wanted to be, the ideal version of myself, and truly evolve and grow into this harmonious existence, right? Like it was now based off of everything that I had experienced in my past. You know what I mean? Like it's still like everything that I had done up until this point, from the, you know, buying companies and building companies and being a pro skater and being on TV and trying to act. And I mean, look, you got to understand, at one point I was like, I might be an actor. I might just very well be an actor. I got like an acting coach. You know what I mean? Like of course, in true, like, deep ambition, go for it. Early days, Rob Dyrdek, I wrote a screenplay with my very good friend Nino Scalia, the very first authentic skateboarding feature film. And then I starred in it with a bunch of pro skateboarders, and I financed the film and, paid to four-wall it and introduced it into theaters. Now, that was like my version of like, I'm going to become an actor. Okay. And when I experienced what it was like to be an actor on this movie that I wrote for this project that I was passionate about, it was, this is, it's starting to feel a little strange to me, you know what I mean? But at that time, I probably would have told you like, I'm gonna continue to build businesses. I have my reality show that's coming out, and I'm gonna do film and move and continue to do acting. Even in my mind, I played like the heel or the mean character in the movie, and even though like it's not fitting to my personality, I thought that would show my range. I thought it would show my range in acting if I could be like, like the funny guy, and then be the mean, like terrible guy. Like it would show my range. But it began to be like, what? And then, of course, then I went on, and my first major motion picture debut after that was I played Rambo, the skateboard pimp, in the movie Righteous Kill, starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and 50 Cent. And look, this is always like a funny concept to me. Number one, it was like when they asked to see me, I had gotten an acting agent at that point after I made the film, and here I go and make this acting run. And, the director kind of talked through this idea of a skateboard pimp. And of course, to me, it's like, what? Like, you can't, is that even, I mean, it's so corny, can we really do this? But it's De Niro and Pacino. And, this is the complete experience in my filmmaking. I went to shoot my scene. Okay. And of course, man, it's even embarrassing when I think about the scenes of actually skateboard pimping, where like I ollied off a deck and then grabbed a prostitute and was like, get in there, you whore, whatever. I don't remember the words exactly, but it was something to that effect. But I get to be in scenes with De Niro and Pacino. Now, the problem is the scene that I'm in, I'm dead. So this is how it worked. I laid on the ground with a bullet hole in my eyes, in my head, eyes closed, because Bobby and Al are in their trailers, and like I got makeup on that has my eyes closed, and then Al Pacino and Robert De Niro come in, and they're talking over my body. It's like 90 degrees out. I'm sweating. I'm dead. Got a bullet in my forehead. And it's Al Pacino and Robert De Niro talking over me. And it just sounds like God talking. That's it. Sounds like two gods having a conversation. And, they're saying their lines like, what that, whatever they're doing. And then they whisk them away. And then I open my eyes and they're gone. So I never even saw them or interacted with them, but I am a dead skateboard pimp in a movie with the two most prolific actors of all time. A great memory that is just voice related. It's it's just audio. You know what I mean? I'm in a movie with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and never met them, and only have their voices to remember it by. But But I'll tell you what it did for me is just, after that, like I was invited to go to like an audition. I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. That's just like, I was like, to even shoot that part, that thing took like 8 days of my time. I had to be out there for all this time, like sitting. I just realized like, okay, this is never going to be part of anything that I want to do. But at the time it was like, man, I looked at it as this sort of path of like, maybe this will reveal the opportunity to me, and I did that in so many different things of all the different businesses that I tried and all the different TV shows that I created and cartoons that I created in different companies. Like all of these things were being created and hoping one of them would reveal to me the type of life that I would ultimately have. And I eventually realized that was never going to happen, and that I had to design the life that I wanted to have and then begin to build it over time. But make no mistake, that life that I finally was able to design and that I get to live today and truly be healthy and balanced and happy and have a true life of love and abundance was based off of all of the things that I tried and went through, and then ultimately a deep self-evaluation of truly understanding who I am, what are the things that I really want to do, what are the things that give energy and take energy, and what are all of these aspects of life that I need in order to live a fulfilling, happy, high quality life. When I finally did that, I began to truly live life and grow into having a full and big life the way that I envisioned it. In whatever state or level that you're at right now, like even though you're in a position where you're like, hey, I just gotta like try this right now. If this works, then I'll figure out my life. Hey, if I just continue on this path, I'll try this. This will be what it is. Like you can still get a ton of value and learn and understand and build tools and different aspects that you will ultimately apply to the life design when you are ready. You know what I mean? But ultimately, taking the time, deeply assessing yourself and really understanding what does make that up, you're never going to find a truly fulfilling, rewarding, amazing life that everybody seeks and ultimately wants until you go through that process. But it's for whenever you are actually ready. And look, and if you're listening to this podcast, okay, then you should be on your way. You know what I mean? If you're already listening to this, this is the first step in beginning to ask the questions to yourself, listen to the content like this and allow it to begin to help you ask the questions of yourself that lead to the answers that ultimately lead to the plan that begins the process of you actually realizing the amazing life that you are capable of creating. But when you are ready, you got to take that action and really make it happen. Because until then, you're going to continually be hunting for things to fulfill you and find the life that you want rather than design it and creating it yourself. Because that's what we're about down here. Again, anywhere you listen to the show, like, subscribe. Appreciate every single one of you. Hit me with the comments. Join the machinists. Go to dyrdekmachine.com. Check out everything we're doing there. We're just out here living that harmonious, high quality life to the fullest, because that's really what it's about. And for you, you got to look out into the future if you want to create that one. And you may not be ready, but if you are, you need to create the pathway to realize that vision, and then you got to go for it and give it all you got. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.